Great man, Dumbledore. Great man.
Here they come. I better hurry.
Fudge has to see Buckbeak before we steal him. Otherwise he'll think Hagrid set him free.
Scabbers, you're alive. Closer, right?
That's Pettigrew.
Harry, you can't.
Hermione, that's the man who betrayed my parents. You don't expect me to just sit here.
Yes, and you must. Harry, you're in Hagrid's hut now. If you just go bursting in, you'll think you've gone mad. Awful things happen to wizards who meddle with time, Harry. We can't be seen.
Remember this footpath, Minister?
Fudge is coming. We aren't leaving. Why aren't we leaving?
There are many changes, I think, looking round.
Are you mad?
Man, I wasn't.
Ow!
Did all the planting here, all that planting.
That hurt.
Sorry.
Oh, I've done very fine stuff, but I can find the name. There it is. Yes, that's Ling. Ling, see over there. Slow. Holding. Hagrid.
Come on, we're coming out the back door. Go! Is that really what my hair looks like from the back?
What?
I thought I just saw... Never mind.
Let's go! Go, Harry, go! Alright, get off!
Minister, you mean the hypocrite? No, I do not. The executioner. Acting on behalf of the committee. Step outside. Minister, I really think I should sign as well. Yes, very well. Well, that it would be a good thing.
Okay, Buckbeak, come on quickly. Come with us now, okay? Come on.
I'm very happy. Would you...
Keep trying. Come on.
Yes.
Buckbeak, okay. Quickly, hurry up, okay?
On the line. Your name only. It's a very long name.
Hurry up now, Buckbeak, okay?
Come on, Buckbeak. Come and get the nice dead ferret. Come on. It's here. Come on, Beaky.
And here we are, Minister. Follow me. Now look there. See? Where? Look, beyond the rock. What am I supposed to see? Professor Dimmitt had that ling planted when he was headmaster.
Oh, yes, indeed, indeed.
And all the strawberries, you see.
Strawberries? I see no strawberries.
Over there. Where? Over there, look. Yes.
Let's get this over, please.
All right.
But where is it? I saw the beaks just now. Not a moment ago.
How extraordinary.
Buckbeak.
Oh, come now, Dumbledore. Someone's obviously released.
I don't think the minister was suggesting that you had anything to do with this, Hagrid. After all, how could you? You've been with us all the time.
Well, right.
Well, we must search the grounds.
So search the skies if you must, Minister. Meanwhile, I'd like a nice cup of tea or a large brandy.
Hey there, LEGO fans and Potterheads. I'm the lawyer in the LEGO Shed, and this is the 40th in a series of videos that I'll be making as I build my way through the magical world of LEGO Harry Potter. I've been collecting the Harry Potter LEGO line since it started back in 2001 with the release of the very first movie, and for the video series, I'm going to be building sets that have been part of the more recent waves of Harry Potter LEGO, beginning in 2018 and stopping with the 2023 releases. The plan is to go in movie order, and so, without further ado, let's get started. Today we're covering set number 75947, Hagrid's Hut, Buckbeak's Rescue. This set depicts the scene in Prisoner of Azkaban where Harry, Ron, and Hermione visit Hagrid just before Buckbeak's scheduled execution. The trio have to flee out the back door of the hut while Dumbledore, the executioner, and Cornelius Fudge enter through the front, all while Buckbeak is chained up in Hagrid's pumpkin patch. Released in 2019, this set has 496 pieces and a total of 6 minifigures, 3 of which are unique to this set. Like many Hogwarts locations, this is not the first time that we've seen Hagrid's Hut. The first appearance was back in 2001 with the release of the very first Harry Potter Lego wave and movie. Set number 4704 had an ingenious building technique which allowed an 8-sided structure to essentially curl in on itself to make a complete octagon. The roof was comprised of a single creased piece of thick, pliable plastic that was printed and held shut with effectively a rubber band. One of the main highlights of that set was the first time that we saw a molded Norbert figure, so kind of an exciting piece to get as a new wave had come in. The next time that we saw Hagrid's Hut was with set number 4754, which came out in 2004 with the theatrical release of Prisoner of Azkaban. Interestingly, this version of the hut did not attempt to recreate the version that we actually see in Prisoner of Azkaban. As I've mentioned before, that director, Alfonso Cuarón, took over from Chris Columbus, and he made several changes to the look, the layout, and the feel of the Harry Potter cinematic universe. One of the most significant changes that he made was the location and the look of Hagrid's Hut. Originally situated right next to the Forbidden Forest, it now is located basically right on the edge of a cliff or a very steep slope and was accessed by walking out of the clock tower courtyard and across a long wooden bridge. It also lost a small freestanding building that was there next to it, and it gained a small little annex. But in 4754, they really did not attempt to recreate any of those design changes, and instead went with a more simplified version of the hut with basically 4 sides, a plate-built roof, and a standard hinged opening. One of the highlights from that particular set was the inclusion of a Hermione minifigure that had a time turner printed on her torso. That same torso also appeared in 4757. All right, then we saw Hagrid's Hut appearing for the 3rd time in set number 4738 and the relaunch of the line that happened back in 2001. This one also coincided with the release of the Deathly Hallows Part 1 movie and was kind of a retrospective of the entire wave. That version appeared to not be based on any particular movie, as the references were to both Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets, and was definitely a downgrade in size from 4757. They also ditched some of the printed elements in favor of stickered ones and gave us one of the worst Aragogs we have seen in the entire line. But overall, the structure and layout of the hut remained largely unchanged between that and 4757. It's also worth mentioning that Hagrid's Hut did make a small appearance, literally and figuratively, in 71043 as one of the side builds to the microscale Hogwarts castle. But that brings us to today's set, which is 47947, and let's just do a quick run through of the set itself. So starting with the exterior here, you can see right away that this is very much based upon the version that is depicted in Prisoner of Azkaban. We have an updated color scheme and roof style, and the annex are all represented here. What's more, we even have a full little pumpkin patch with a molded Buckbeak figure, which all just look really fantastic. Put him there for us. All right. Turning to the interior of the set itself, we can see that this is the first model to not be fully enclosed. All the other Hagrid Hut models had some full enclosure that could be done. In the main portion here, we have Hagrid's nice big armchair that you can see. We have a table and chairs here with a little teapot, and then you can kind of see it here in the very back. There's a little area with Hagrid's trusty pink umbrella by the door. We also have a nice little element here of these great hanging items from the rafters, very reminiscent of Hagrid's hut in the movies. And then you can even see here, it's kind of difficult, but there's the little egg that's sitting on the fire. The fireplace is right here, and you can see it's even illuminated by a light brick that you illuminate by touching the chimney here, which I think you can kind of see there. So, great little main area there. Then off to the side in the annex, we have a nice little chest that has a little chocolate frog hiding in there. In our rafter area, we've got this little spider, and then a little desk with a newspaper on it and a small candle. So not a whole lot going on in the annex, but definitely still present. And then you can kind of see there's a walkthrough to get to the room itself, so that then our trio can exit out this door and avoid being seen by Fudge and the executioner. Okay. So with that walkthrough done, adjust our view there a little bit. Let's talk about what I loved. First off, I loved the fact that we finally got a full, proper set based upon this version of Hagrid's hut. This ends up being the one that sticks for the remainder of the series, so it's nice to see it finally represented here properly. And what's more, I think they did a great job depicting it here. The color scheme, the structure, it all looks remarkably good, especially when comparing it to the actual inspiration itself. I also loved that we got an updated hippogriff here. Buckbeak looks really great. I'm just going to move him a little closer so you can see kind of the detailing. Can even take off his little chain here to keep him from flying away. Great styling here. The headpiece looks wonderful. These nice big full wings, and then it's enough that at least a minifigure can sit right on his back. Look at these great feet too, with the toes that are looking like a bird's, and then the rear that look like hooves. Very in keeping with the way that he appears in the films as well. When we look at 4750 and 4732, those were the first times that we saw a griff or a hippogriff. And it's in the old style of those Lego animals, but this updated modern version definitely is an improvement on that version. And I'm so glad that we did not have to go to a brick-built version like we saw in the Lego Dimensions set with Hermione. So great that we got an actually molded version here of that beautiful hippogriff. I was also really impressed with the way that they did the roof design here. Just to show you kind of how it works, they have this little centerpiece that kind of holds up a, just a standard brick. And then they've got a little rounded clip that has 8 different sides here. So it's like a standard plate, but then it has this extension out to have these rods, 8 of them, so that then you're just clipping in all of those roof pieces. And I can even show you here. You can technically just like lift them up with how it's constructed. And so they're like just a little flower petal basically, and then you just tuck them all down and voila, you've got a nice 8-sided roof here that I think ultimately is really quite effective. I could definitely see why certain folks might be bothered by the gaps in the roof, but keeping in mind that this is a Lego set and it doesn't need to be perfectly closed, I actually think this works out really well. Things I didn't love, while I don't hate it as much as I thought I would, I still really would have liked to have seen this as a complete model rather than a dollhouse approach. Every previous version of the hut had been fully enclosed, and it does not seem that it would have been that difficult to do here. I actually considered adding a back to this model myself, but decided against it because we have a new Hagrid's hut coming in the 2024 wave, and that one's based upon the Sorcerer's Stone, so I was like, all right, time and energy and money investment, rather just have that one and go from there. I also felt that the interior could have had a bit more going on here. I love the detail that we got, but, having a little cabinet or kind of a little like counter area or something would have been nice. And this annex feels just really not congruous with what Hagrid's hut would have had in it. A little desk area. It just doesn't seem accurate for a gamekeeper's hut. So I personally felt that we could have done a lot more with this particular area. And had a couple pieces of furniture to make it a little more chaotic and cozy and cramped, which are definitely the hallmarks of Hagrid's hut when we look at the imaging from the movies itself and the set design there. And last, while I recognize that this one is kind of silly, I do find the naming of the set to be a little odd. It's called Buckbeak's Rescue, which is why I put it here in the lineup of the video series. But really, this set seems to be more depicting the first time that we see this scene as the audience. And it's when the trio arrives at the Buckbeak execution, when he's about to be executed. This is all based on the clothing that everybody's wearing, which we'll talk about in a second, the minifigs that are included, and the overall layout of the set. But then again, I suppose that it would have been hard for LEGO to justify a set that was named Hagrid's Hut Buckbeak's Execution. So I get it, but it was something that was a little frustrating as trying to figure out the order and the lineup of this particular set. Okay, so with the likes and dislikes out of the way, let's move on to our minifigures. First up, we've got our golden trio, Harry, Ron, and Hermione. We'll start with Harry real quick. Harry we have seen before. We've actually seen him 2 times previously. This is the same version that appears in the Night Bus and in Expecto Patronum, so won't go further in there, but that's where he's from. He looks the same, and he looks good for the purpose of being a part of this particular lineup here. Then we've got Ron, and Ron we have seen once before. This is the same version that appears in the Shrieking Shack set. Same thing, we've already analyzed him, so he looks good for the purposes of this scene, and we'll just put him right here for the rest of our lineup. And last, we have Hermione. She, on the other hand, is technically new. The only meaningful difference between her appearance here and the other sets that are based on this sequence is the printing on her torso. You'll see there that she has a nice little print of the Time Turner. I personally love this little detail. It feels very much like a nod to 4754's Hermione figure, and was really the only thing that makes this set seem like it is based on Buckbeak's Rescue, as opposed to the Buckbeak Execution, because we don't know about the Time Turner yet at that point in the sequence, but she's a great little figure there, and it's nice to have a printed torso with that on it again. So there's Hermione, just with her very slight differences there. Next, we have Hagrid. This is the same figure that we have actually seen 4 previous times in our lineup. So in 75978, that's the collector's edition of Diagon Alley. He's also the same figure that we saw in 76417, Gringotts Wizarding Bank. He's also present in 75954, Hogwarts Great Hall, and in 76423, Hogwarts Express and Hogsmeade Station. So we've seen this particular figure a lot, but when they kind of nailed what he looks like and his costume, why mess with it a whole lot? So he's great, he's molded, he's special, but we have already seen him 4 different times so far. To round out our figures, we've got the 2 characters who had never previously been depicted in LEGO form, and the ones that I would say I'm probably most excited about. Let's start with Cornelius Fudge. He is our Minister of Magic, and overall he looks pretty great, with printing on both his torso and his legs. He's even got printing on the back, albeit pretty simple, but he does have it. He also has his iconic bowler hat. Notably, Fudge has only ever been released in one other set, and that is 76457, the collector's edition of the Hogsmeade Village. There he finally gets some pinstripes on his cloak, which he actually has throughout the entire series, but he loses the printing on his legs. So kind of an odd choice, but I personally prefer this particular figure since he's got the printing on the top and the bottom. So great to finally have our Minister of Magic, considering he is frequently present in our story. Next, we have Walden McNair, the Executioner, and he is really just impressive with all the major beats of his costume being represented. First, he's got this nice dark hood and cowl. He's got a sinister face mask there that you can kind of see covering up the majority of his face, and some really great printing on his torso, again printing on the back as well, even looking a little bit tattered like he does in the movie. And then, of course, he's got this incredible axe, which the one in the movie is kind of fantastical, and getting this kind of similar shape that they were able to do with these dual points of connection. They did it with a standard axe piece, but then also included a small little ice skate to make it work. So really an ingenious way of demonstrating that axe piece. And one last element here of his costume, he's got on his black gloves, but his bare arms. So I was really impressed with how they were able to really capture him, especially for such a minor character. I thought they did a really great job there. So, moving on, I would say what's fascinating about this minifig lineup is, despite the fact that it's good, there is another really notable exception here. And it's the fact that Dumbledore isn't present again. He's in the scene, and he is just completely omitted. So after having another one where he was kind of a natural inclusion, but an omission, I dug into it a little bit. And between all 3 years of the line, from 2018 to 2020, excluding the Advent calendar, we actually only get 2 Dumbledore minifigures. One that was based upon Richard Harris's interpretation from the first 2 movies, and then one that was based on Michael Gambon's interpretation from the 3rd movie going forward. So kind of an interesting little element there, that they only chose to do 2 Dumbledore figures when he was actually pretty common an inclusion in the remainder of the series. But for my overall impression, I really enjoyed this set. It was an entirely new scene for the Harry Potter line. It was a well-thought-out redo of previous versions of Hagrid's hut, and all of the essential elements to recreate the scene referenced are present, obviously with the exception of Dumbledore. Even with the shortcomings that I mentioned, I still will say this is one of the sets that I was most excited to build and have held on to since 2019. So it was nice to finally get to do it here. And yeah, that is it for set number 75947. If you're interested in following along on this journey with me, please feel free to follow the account. But if there's anything else that you think I should be doing or covering in these reviews, feel free to drop a comment and let me know. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day.